Alright, another Anekantavad video. Anyway, it's just so. eh. uh, he talks. Well, like, okay, so we're having this discussion, and I would argue that, from my perspective, as I see it as a fact of this discussion, is that it's kind of academic for you, where it's real life for me. From, if I'm right, and I'm confident I am, there's the welfare of trillions of sentient organisms riding on me. Okay, I'm essential, maybe. Maybe. I mean, clearly there's not somebody else just, running with the football, so it's kind of clear I've got to pick it up. And this isn't like a regular football game. It's just not, you're not just running, you got a lot riding on scoring the goal. Not fucking up, not running the wrong way, not running into the wrong players, taking the right path through the obstacle course and winning. Time's running out, all of these scenarios. I'm just saying, so it's a lot of, we're just playing a different kind of game, where for you it's just academic. You win, you lose, it doesn't matter. You're going to go back and sit in the sands and be comfortable. Especially now that you said, basically conceded you had a vasectomy. I don't know if tomorrow I passed a no reproduction law and it was successful around the whole world, and the human race was going to be gradually eradicated through attrition. I don't think it would change your ability to tantra. I think you'd still enjoy watching a movie. I think your life would be pretty much, yeah, okay, well, that's what they decided. I don't think it would upset the hell out of you. I just don't. Where, like I said, from my perspective, my failures are catastrophic. People, things, animals will be tortured. It's a fact. So I'm just saying we're playing a little bit of different game. So I'm just pointing that out for the sake of pointing it out, that that's the real truth here. And I'm really not a guy who likes arguing. I don't like this role I'm in. I really don't. I never liked arguing. I just happen to do it well because I've been complaining my whole life. See, complaining and arguing are kind of the same thing. Because as soon as you complain about something, somebody gives you some fucking argument. And you're stuck arguing. I don't want to argue. I just want to point out, asshole, stupid, wasteful motherfucker. I'm just complaining. That's all I did in my youth, was complain. And now I've had to learn how to argue, only because every time you complain about something, instead of admitting it sucks, or it's stupid, or it's a waste, they argue some other crap like, well, Hillary's just as bad. Some kind of crap. So it's always an argument, because no one will ever concede any negative truth about our reality. The things that, well, let's say, just say the things that are in there, I will defend it, space. And whatever's in there, I'll defend it space, then they're just going to keep throwing this tripe out every time somebody points out how it's got leprosy, it's spoiled, it's rotten. They're going to just keep defending what they're hugging. So I end up arguing. And I end up pretty good at it because, practice makes perfect. That's it. But frankly, if I could fix the problems, I would love to do something else with my time. I'm kind of a artist at heart or something. Something like that anyway. Yeah, I really, engineering things is work. Troubleshooting is work. Thinking is work. I don't want to do any of that crap. I want to just fantasize and imagine. That's fun. So anyway, just for clarification, this is business for me. It's really not, I can't imagine doing something better. I can. It's a lot better. Anyway, yeah. So when it comes to this politics thing, you brought up politics and the Democratic Party and Republican. If we had a representative democracy, it's like if it really was one man, one vote, like in America, it's not clearly. Um, it's insanely. Um, and we had a Congress that wasn't, like I said, no, I've never had a congressman in my life, and I never will where I live. So, there's no representation. I don't have a voice in Congress. There's nobody in Congress arguing my positions. Because we don't have a democracy that represents your ideology. We have a democracy that represents your geography. And so you're always going to be stuck with a majority candidate. The majority always gets to win. Then there's no minority voices ever heard unless the minorities are segregated. And it's kind of hard in the modern world to be a segregated minority. It worked 250 years ago because the Quakers were over here and the Protestants were over there and everybody was segregated. So this kind of geographic democracy worked. But it doesn't work in a melting pot. And the fact that nobody can figure this simple thing out, right? This is just like, duh. I mean, duh, we got to upgrade this because, yeah, this geography thing is fine when you have stagecoaches and shit and there's no easy transportation and we don't have computers and all that kind of crap, and it's just fine when everybody's living in little communities of like-minded people. But it absolutely sucks in the modern world. It's a piece of shit. And this is somehow a complex argument. So that's how, whoa. I mean, this is just... Things are so bad. No one's conceding just how bad they are. That people can't even understand that. Like, that is not a complex subject. And they can't figure it out. Well, I'd say inheritance is not a complex subject. And they can't figure that out. My kids are better than your kids. That's a cool thing for people to say. And it's cool to act on it. That's being cool and smart. When, logically, it's just as fucked-hearted can be. So, this is the world we live in. So, yeah, I'm sitting here, zillions of tortured victims in the balance, and, to give me an argument that somehow there's some other thing that they're not going to fuck it up, that you saying keep the ball rolling, that somehow the ball's going to go rolling somewhere good when this is the asshole they're pushing the ball. These are the assholes you're giving license to. And you're telling me this. So that was one of the little ironies I thought in this whole conversation. I'm only arguing with one of your conclusions. And that's your conclusion that the ball should keep rolling. I guess I conceded, in a sense, that the rest of the crap, I'll let you have it. It's all yours. Because it lives and dies with you, and that's it. No consequence. Partly that's one of the answers. And the rest of the other answers are, I don't think you're all that uncivilized. You're a partial vegetarian. I don't think you deliberately run over anything or harm anything. I don't think you're in any way think recreational, any of that crap would make much sense. I don't think you go out hunting on the weekends and harming things. I don't think that's in your nature anywhere. So, and the rest of it is all just an individual practice. You want to pinch yourself and stick needles in and do whatever, and smoking urns and herbs on your head or some other kind of crap. I'm like, well, go for it. Fantastic. So yeah, I don't have any and I'd almost argue that I don't call it anything. I didn't get it from no Indians, but I got all kinds of practices. All kinds of ways to masturbate. I write a book, the 101 ways to, get there. So I'm all for that crap. So like I said, from my perspective, there's only one real subject that's important here, and that's the conclusion. So by the conclusion, I'm just saying you're heard. So where I think we both agree, the herd goes where it goes because it's an idiot. It doesn't do anything smart. I mean, it eats its own ass every day. I mean, it's running around in circles, being just a total embarrassment to intelligence. But the irony is that you've taken this very elaborate, complex, intellectual path, and you end up with the same damn fucking... You got the same dance moves in the end. And that's the part that's almost funny, right? Because, I'm arguing with the guy who's taking this real convoluted path to get to the same dumb answer. We make sense. No, you don't. You're fucktarded. So I'm just saying, that's sort of the irony of this. And so I'm saying, much of this conversation I don't really care about. I mean, all the self thingy, I don't give a shit about that. I'm just kind of stuck on the future thing. And so if you want to make arguments about what the future is going to be, or what's the consequences of the waste that's going to exist in it, or how the fuck we stop or mitigate against that waste, those are great arguments. But realistically, I guess part of what I'm saying is I can invest a lot of time with you arguing these fundamental facts, but in a sense, that might be it's probably not the optimum use of my time, because the people I really have to argue with is the herd. I mean, you're a fringe character of the herd. You don't even represent the herd. You don't represent the majority of people that are pushing the ball. And if I'm going to change something, I got to change the majority of people pushing the ball. And then we can make rules and force everybody to comply and blah 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 and do it the straight up way. So I'd argue about your argument about consensus. I mean, well, the idea of we need to have conflict and all that crap. I say bullshit to all that crap. I don't think there's any rational theory defending that. I think we'd all like to live in a Garden of Eden, where everybody has their own little garden, nobody pollutes each other's garden, everybody's quite agreeable. I'll fuck my wife, you fuck your wife, blah blah blah, live and let live. That'd be great. I don't think we need conflict in any way. And I think there is real purpose in, I think there's a truth, and you either got it right or you got it wrong. And if you got it wrong, you shouldn't be in the navigator seat. So this is sort of what this is a battle over. The navigator seat. Who's going to sit in the navigator seat? And I'm saying, if I'm sitting in it, zillions of things are saved from torture. And if one of you idiots are sitting in it, zillions of things get tortured. So it's kind of important that whatever this conflict thing is, it ends with me in the seat and not you in the seat. Something like me in the seat, or not something like you in the seat, however you want to put it. I mean, this isn't just my battle, but obviously in this medium, I'm a whatever point man. Do the pushing of the reeds out of the way, and the first to get speared in the head kind of a thing. And I think there's just lots of examples where this stuff does, this isn't just some sort of inevitable conflict and all this kind of crap. I mean, religion was dying in this country, and the whole immigrant thing is just giving it new life, and that's a real bummer. And the party who was supposed to be the secular party is the one that's defending all that pollution. They're the ones destroying their own political viability, ironically. So there's just so much in this mess, and it's just how badly the liberals, the progressives behave, just makes the pendulum swing harder back the other way. So when they do this dopey, unsustainable spending thing, no practical limitations on just bright checks all day. They just make it easy for the other side to smush them back down the other way. And that's the sad, pitiful fact of our political system, is now it's just a horrid mess. Because both sides have created such intractable past damage that neither side can trust the other at all. And so it is getting quite strange. So but it's not, Trump isn't the disease, he's the symptom. We were already heading for this kind of intractability, the simple answers. So, the Reagan solution. Chinese city on a hill, blah 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 blah. I believe in that. So you just say something vacuous and simple, and he's on the right side. They're against the shining city, so therefore my vote is easy. And that's all that's kind of done. And so the substance of both parties are made out of intractable haters of the other party. And that's all there is. And in a sense, that's, and the middle ground are just idiots who can't figure out who they are, or what they are, or where they are. So it's just really quite disgusting in all respects. Yeah, so I just don't buy this argument that we need conflict and all this. I don't need any of it. You know, I could enjoy it maybe if I'm playing some sport. It might be nice to have somebody to play some sport against, and so yeah, some of this I can get what you're saying. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't never argue any issue if it was, you know, if I had the power to do something else. But I'm just saying that something else's do seem sort of compelling. You know, they're calling me. It seems louder than this as a personal ambition. All right. Yeah, let's see, if you're not represented, yeah, I did that part. You brought up Israel, and, you know, I'd say everything about Israel is kind of a non-starter about their performance because, you know, frankly, you know, they're wearing our shoes, you know, so, you know, or however you want to, you know, we have strings on them and stuff, and we have, you know, we're like a parent or something, or however you want to call that, guide dog. So they're sort of a cheat. Their survival isn't based on the fact that they're doing anything right. Their survival is based on the fact that they can't fail as long as they have us as a friend. So I'm just saying, if Israel was on its own for the last 50 years, I think it would have stepped into a trap it could never get itself out of. So anyway. So bottom line, yeah, you have a bunch of what I would call unreasonable premises. So I would argue that if we did go to the herd and just doing the simple things, if I offer you two things on a platter, a nail in the eye and a cupcake, which one would you pick? I mean, give them a bunch of simple tests. I'm saying that my answers to those simple questions, they're always going to validate what I'm saying. You know, if I ask them, you know, I mean, this one will win by 99.99%, I think. If I ask them, which one is behind us, the past or the future, and which one hasn't happened yet, which one, which one isn't, you know, I had a better way to say it in my head before when I was thinking about it, you know, the whole idea of your argument that it's hard to tell, I'm just saying that, yeah, that one's going to be really easy to figure out, that the present is after the past and before the future. They're all going to get that question right. And so I'd say that most of your axioms don't fall into that category, or a significant percentage of the significant axioms don't fit into the category that if I went to the man on the street, he'd say, nah, that's silly. And I'm not using this as evidence of anything other than these conclusions are easy. They're like the 2 + 2 = 4 kind of questions, and the herd can get those right. And we know that the reason why the herd can't do any bigger math is because they already have conclusions regarding the bigger math: religion and patriotism and nepotism. So they live on these things, and they're really the only elements of their guidance. And so they're not taking it from the bottom up. They're not doing the thinking for themselves, which is I take a bunch of facts and I build a truth out of them. They've just been told traditionally that these are the things. America is great, America is good, God is good, and my kids are better than your kids. And that's the extent of their ideology. And their entire brain function revolves around those simple truths, and there's no other reality necessary. And that's come from the top, not from the bottom up. That's tradition. Right, so for me this is a, you know, this whole, you know, it's the battlefield of ideas, and it has to turn into eventually a battlefield that's going to be real, and it has throughout history. And you know, the division is going to be fundamental and strong, you know. So I mean, it's like freeing slaves. You didn't do that for free. I mean, maybe there was a way to do it for free, but it certainly wasn't it wasn't that easy to grab that easy way. So, I can have that as a comparison. Is, if it's going to be intractable, if they're going to refuse to be reasonable, then what's the response? You really can't. There's no response to have. Again, the North didn't declare war on the South. It was the South who said, we're not gonna agree to being Americans anymore. We're gonna turn the board game over. And I can't fault them for, in the sense that I would say that there's a point where cheating is the only choice, and because winning has to happen. So as much as I hate the idea of not going through the consensus idea, that's my preference, is consensus. A large majority before any action. It's certainly my preference, and that's why I argue, because this is the only way to achieve that, is to try to persuade people. But that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I know you're not trying to do that, but that's exactly what I'm trying to do. And again, I'm not really trying to persuade you, because I don't even think you're arguing the subject. But I'm trying to persuade the herd idiots, and some of the arguments are parallel. Some of the propositions are parallel, regardless of the fact that you found a very convoluted way to get to those conclusions. You have the same conclusions, and many of them, some of them anyway. And again, you're the only person around. I mean, if I had somebody better to argue with, I mean, no offense, but I would argue with them. I mean, somebody who had more herd-like arguments that they were making, then that's probably the argument I would concentrate on, because I want to win the argument. And I got to win it with the majority of the holders. Whatever argument's the most held is whatever fact or group of facts is the most held is the one I have to argue. That's why I've argued atheism on, and I argue all the time about evolution and biological function, because these are the facts that they're behaving in conflict with, that they're not really accepting, not really respecting, is that they are bugs. Because if they saw themselves as just fancier bugs that could sing and dance, but are still behaving like bugs, like selfish, I mean, you can't even call bugs sadistic, because they don't do things on purpose, where humans quite willfully do things on purpose. They know what the implication is, they know what's happening. A lion doesn't know the little animals are suffering. And I think if it did know, again, like I said, I think a lot of lions would say, fuck that, I'm going home, I'm not going to do this shit. I'm not playing. Whoever put me here, fuck you. I'm not playing. This is a stupid game, a stupid lion's game. Why would a smart lion do this shit? So I'm sure they would also become antinatalists if they didn't have some stupid tradition of I'm a Christian, or I'm some other kind of fucking-imbecile, a racist, or a European. I'm a pure European, and that's their, they can't see any other totem to chase after than their Europeanness. And that goes for the other races are playing the same game. So, well, as I stated, I'm just sort of thinking of this staircase thing, and there's the real necessary, really hard. You have to. All the stairs matter, but it's clearly the ones at the bottom. You have to have them. So you might as well start there, because the rest of the staircase has to be built on them. There is some sort of, they're not all equal, I guess. Not all facts are equal. There's facts that are more important than other facts. You can jump a few stairs here and there, or steps, or however to analogize that. And we've sort of been doing this in the abstract realm, where we can pick different places on the staircase to argue, but it's not very coherent as a argument plan, a lesson plan. So I'm not, like I said, I think it all has value in the sense that they're all arguments and they're all being made. So they have some value to a person who wants to pay attention and understand the context of our conversation. But I'm even thinking of writing a little short story of the snowball, with the little feet. Make a nice, like, Dr. Seuss kind of thing, some sort of little animated story, about how life happens to us. And, yeah, so there's value in that alone, that I see some power in some of the metaphors brought up, caused to happen, through our deterministic interaction. Yeah. So, like I said, I got nothing. There's nothing personal in all this crap beyond the fact that I have a huge personal investment, and in my opinion, I'm carrying the welfare of trillions, and so there's a lot of pressure on my side of the argument. And the truth is yeah, if I have to, yeah, it's just business, but yeah, I'm gonna whack you. I don't mean this in a personal way. I just mean the idea is to bury you on the ash heap of history. There's just no other way to look at it. Failure just isn't. Failure is complete. There's no little failure. There's just failure, I guess. I don't know how else to say that. And so there's really no option. You have to go to war if that's the only way to win. But again, I would argue that, yes, we're still in the stage where the war is words. And who knows if it ever goes to any other point. If it will have to go to some other level. But yeah, that's for when there's some when the herd is split. The herd doesn't pay any attention to this argument yet. But when the herd has a problem, when there's two herds, yeah, that's when there's going to be a problem. So continue. Yeah, we'll just see where it goes. But yeah, I have written down some stuff. I mean, there's just certain subjects you have to start with and say reasonable or unreasonable. I mean, do I really have to reasonably indulge the possibility that the past hasn't already happened? It didn't happen back then. It's somehow going to happen later. And that the future hasn't happened. It didn't happen back then. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen based on the arrangement of the stuff the past has put at this surface. This crest of the wave, however you want to look at it. The wave is made out of something, and how it crests is how it crests. And it's going to crest into the future. The wave's going to break into the future. Kind of a thing. But, if we can't concede that, okay, let's argue within that frame. Because if I have to go outside that frame, everything falls apart. And the arguments are useless in a way. No glue, no substance, no shape. Kind of a thing. Okay, till next time and such. Mostly. Well, yeah, there's one thing I wanted to mention. Your last video, it was kind of funny. I made a deliberate play on words. I said stupid does as stupid is, and then when you retitled it, you did it back the old way. So I just wanted to point that out. That I did mean a point by that. Is that the does part is what the stupidity is making. It makes doeses. That's the important thing.